Alright, so class, as promised, I will be attempting the fourth and the fifth question from the homework that was sent yesterday. I've already started with writing the question. As you can see, it says determine the value of x plus y if, and now we're going to write our matrices, our matrix. So we'll have the first element 2x plus y, then we have here 5x take away 7 or minus 7. Then for the next element in this matrix, we're going to write 4x, and it's also the same element right here. Right, forgive me if I don't draw the brackets well. Alright, so this is a 2 by 2 matrix, and now we have to equate it to another matrix here. So we have 7 as the first element, we have y, then we have 7y minus 13, then we have x plus 6. So I know some of you are confusing if it's a 2 by 3 matrix because of how the numbers are written, but no, it's a 2 by 2 matrix. So we have one element here, one element here, one element here, another element here. So that's 4 elements, 2 by 2, and the same thing for over here. Alright, so let's now equate each of the corresponding elements, and what we can do, we can actually write them down, all down, before we start working out, because the first thing that we need to do when we're doing any calculating is to at least find out which is the simplest one that we can start working off from. So we have 2x plus y, which will equal to 7, because we're matching this here with this here, right? Then we have 5x, I'm just writing them out first, equals y, yes. Then over here we can, so we have 4x equal negative, 7y minus 13, and then we have 4x equal x plus 6. Yeah, that's about it. So we have our 4 equations now, and what we can do, or one way of doing this, is to look at these and see which one of them is the most simplest to find. Alright, seeing that all of them has the variable x and y, we want to make at least x or y the main subject, which will then insert into the others, and then we suppose we can at least get what x and y is. Alright, so looking at these here, I would say that the simplest one that we can make x be the subject, or better yet, let's make x be the subject, would be this one here. And if you realize with this equation here, it doesn't have any y. All of these have x and y. So we have 2x plus y, we have 5x minus 7 with y, then we have 4x equals 7y minus 13. But this one here doesn't have any y. So out of all of these, we can easily find what x is. Right? So I'm going to label these equations right here. So this is 1, let's say this is 2, this is 3, and this is 4. So let's start off with the fourth equation, because as I said, it's the most simplest one compared to the others, because you're not finding y, you're only finding for x. So let's solve. Alright, so again, 4x equal x plus 6. Alright, so with a transposing rule now, what you can do, seeing that you want x on one side of the equation, you can carry this over here. No one to carry over, it's not necessarily carrying over, but we'll have a class diving more into transposition soon. But seeing that we're carrying over this over the equal sign, the sign in front of it will become negative, and it goes vice versa. If you have a negative number and you're going over the equal sign, it becomes positive. So we can now have in our next line 4x minus, because we're carrying it over, x. Now x is no longer over this side, so once we are at the equal sign, we can just remain with the 6, and the 6 stays the same. Now 4x take away x will simply give you 3x. And then we can now solve for x, which is 2. So right then and there, we now have x. So seeing that we have x, we have 3 other equations that we can choose from to now find y. 1, 2, 3. Alright, so if you want to use either one of them, then that's fine. I'm not going to do all of them, but what we can do, let's work on equation 1. If you want to do equation 2 and 3 just to see if you have the same answer, then that's fine. But remember, the question is what we're focusing on, and we're trying to add x plus y. So let's substitute x now, which is 2, into equation 1. I'm using equation 1 for this instance, and equation 1 is 2x plus y equal 7. 7, yes. So right now we can write it back, 2x plus y equal 7. With x equal thing 2, as we saw before, we're going to substitute now. So we're supposed to have 2 plus y equals 7. 2 2's will give you 4 plus y equals 7. And again, when we're carrying over the equal sign, because we're not solving for y, when we're carrying over the equal sign, it will now become negative, right? So instead of carrying over the y over here, let's just carry the 4 over here, because we just want y on one side. So you'll now have on your next line y stays the same equal 7. 7 stays the same because we didn't move 7, we only moved 4. And this would be yes. Or if you want to write negative 4 plus 7, that's fine. But either way, you're supposed to have 3. Now I know you got 4 equations to work out, but remember the question is only asking us to find x plus y. So once we find x and once we find y, we don't need to do the other equations 3 and 2. We don't need to do 3 and 2. We just need to find x and y and add them up and see the answer. Alright, so you can draw a line here. So with x being 2, you can say therefore x equal 2, comma, y equal 3. So x plus y, which is the same thing as 2 plus 3, will give us 5. And that's the answer. Alright, so continuing on the last question that was given, which is a bit different from the previous questions. We're looking at how we can decontextualize worded statements on the matrix, because in every math topic you always will have questions like these that are written in maybe a paragraph that you have to, as I said, decontextualize in order to get the answer or write it in a mathematical way. So I didn't write the whole questions, but you have it yourself. I only drew the table. And the question reads that there are 3 teams competing in a chess tournament, and for each win they are rewarded 3 points. Whenever they draw, they get 1 point, like football. So here I have team blue with 5 wins and 4 draws, red with 6 wins and 3, and green with 4 wins and 5 draws. Alright? Now, anytime at all that you're given a tabular form, or any form of way that you realize the numbers are arranged in like a row and column manner, you can easily write it as a matrix as this. Put it in the brackets and you write the corresponding numbers, because it's the same thing. So if you look at this, you can say that the first column represents the amount of wins and the second column represents the amount of draws. And each row will eventually represent which team that you're looking at. Right? So you have the table form and you have the matrix form. But no, this is not the question. This is just an example of me showing you how to convert from a table form or any other form to a matrix form. The question now asks, write a matrix for the number of wins for each team. Now, all we're doing In this case, we're going to write a matrix for each win. We're focusing on the win alone. And that's it. That's your 1 mark. Because the question says write a matrix, not matrices. We're looking for one for the number of wins for each team. And that's it. And based off prior knowledge, we can see that this is a column matrix because it only has 1 column. 3 rows, 1 column. So this would be a 3 by 1 matrix, but it's a column matrix. And that's your 1 mark. Now, the second question basically asks, calculate the total points awarded for each team's win. Now remember, whenever they win, they get 3 points. This matrix represents the amount of wins that they have, not the points. But seeing that they basically get 3 points for each win, what we can do is to do some scalar multiplication. So we can use our scalar element right there for 3 because they get 3 points for a win, and we can rewrite the same column matrix, and then we multiply. So you're on to know for team red or for team blue, 3 times 5 give you a 15. For team red, 3 times 6 give you 18. And for team green, 12. Now it asks for the total points already for each team. It never asks for the total points for all the teams combined. So you wouldn't need to add all of these values. We just need to show for each team's total points. And that's it. And that's another point, a mark. Alright, so the first question asks is for the matrix. The second question asks is for how many points each team will have. Now the third question, or the third part of the question, similar to the first one, is that we're going to write a matrix for the number of draws. And if you remember, looking at the table, the draws would be right here. So it would now be 4, 3, 5. And that's another mark. And the last now question asks is for you to calculate the total points already for each draw. Now this is really simple because whenever they draw, they receive just 1 point. So if you're going to scale or multiply again, you just write this. And 1 times anything will literally give you back anything. And that's it. Now, I know that this wasn't given as a part of the question, but what if, let's say there is a 5th question, and the 5th question would ask, what is the total amount of points awarded to each team? And obviously, all we need to do is to add the points for winning and the points for drawing, and we should get our answer. Alright? This isn't part of the question, but this is what we call extended learning. Right? So we have this. And after doing this, you'll now find the amount of points that each team got, whether they win or draw. And we suppose you can do this. Alright, so that's it for the questions. Sorry for submitting the results lately, but please review and prepare for the classwork on a Friday. Have your items and your calculators and whatever you need. And remember, it's not a group work, it's still individual work, but you're just allowed access to your calculators and your books. Alright, all the best.